Hey everybody. So there's snow on the ground in Birmingham, which is a rare occurrence. I always enjoy it. But whenever there's snow in Birmingham, or whenever there's the threat of snow in Birmingham, a lot of times at work or in different places, these discussions will come up about the blizzard of '93 versus the ice storm of '82. And it kind of makes sense that obviously more people, 11 years difference, so it's a more recent storm will be remembered probably more, by more people. But in my opinion, the ice storm of '82 was worse. And I just wanted to talk about kind of my experiences. I always enjoy listening to other people's experiences about these two events in Birmingham, Alabama. For those of you that don't live in Birmingham, when we get snow down here, it shuts everything down and it's just a nightmare. But these two particular events, I think, kind of stand out in most people's memory. I've mentioned in other videos, I moved here in '76. These are the two big ones in my life. So, 1982, I was a sophomore at John Carroll over back when it was on Highland Avenue. I remember going to school as a normal day. So, I don't know if we didn't have Doppler radar. I don't know why we didn't have more advanced notice that this storm was coming. But around 9:30, 10 o'clock, everybody started checking out. My stepfather worked at Rust Engineering back when it was behind the old Highland Avenue Western. So he came and got me, and we headed out. We got as far as the Great Wall of China over on Valley Avenue and had to park it. We couldn't get any further. And so we lived in Hoover up on Shades Mountain, Regent Forest. So we started walking, and it was brutally cold, and cars were everywhere. Because there was no advance warning, everybody was having a hard time getting home. A lot of people had given up and started walking home. One of my memories of that journey home was going up I 65 and cars coming down from Alford Avenue down the interstate and getting maybe a third or a fourth of the way down and just losing control and careening off to the side into the really scary stuff. I remember that very well. But the thing about that ice storm, we lost power. I think we were without power for about 10 days. Lost a lot of pine trees in our backyard. We probably lost 10 to 15 pine trees in our backyard. And just being that age, being a sophomore in high school and stuck at home with no TV, no, we had a transistor radio that worked, but no power. You're kind of at an age where you're getting your first little taste of independence and being locked at home. I've never been to jail, thankfully, but I have to imagine it's about one step up from jail. Stuck with your parents and your younger brother with nothing to do. We tried board games, cards. One of the things that does stand out in my memory, I don't know if talk radio was even a thing back then or not, but I do remember listening to the transistor a lot. And Tommy Charles and John Ed Willoughby were in studio and they were fielding calls like all day. And I do remember it being kind of a shining moment for Birmingham in that people had nothing to do. So people really were helping their neighbors. There were calls that, this elderly lady here needs something. If you got a chainsaw, this person needs something. So there was a lot of community networking. And I do remember that. I remember listening, and it was cool to see it all happening and the community coming together to help each other. That part was really neat. Then in how could I almost forget? I had tickets. This is my personal uh, great loss from that ice storm in '82. I had tickets to see AC/DC for those about to rock tour, January 17th, and it was canceled due to the ice storm. And not to get too much off on a tangent here, but when I used to go to a lot of concerts in the early '80s, really throughout the '80s, but if you missed a band, there were tons of bands that would come around every year. Foreigner, Billy Squier, Loverboy, Journey. The Police. They seem to come just about every year. So if you missed somebody, yeah, you were bummed about it, but you didn't really, I think, until much later in life, appreciate that I never did see AC/DC. I had an opportunity to see them at the height of their power, coming off the Back in Black album, and missed it. And boy, I sure regret that. One of my biggest, if not my biggest, concert regret miss. But then in '93, the blizzard, there seemed to be a lot more notice. I was working out in Inverness. I finished undergrad at UAB. I was working at a law firm as a runner before going to graduate school. And I remember having enough time to go to the grocery store. I went to Blockbuster, stocked up on videos. They didn't do me much good because we lost power. But I do remember being able to kind of prepare better and kind of get hunkered down, get the firewood ready and that kind of thing. To me, it was a much more, even though it's no fun when you don't have power. But I was a little older. I was with some friends. We made the best of it. We made a long trek to the. Uh, I was living in Hoover, Stevens Circle, so we made the trek over to Patton Chapel to the convenience store to get beer. That helped. So I mean, it was a much more fun experience, and also sharing it with friends makes everything better as well. But what I really like is for you to comment on your thoughts, which this is one that, I don't get a lot of people that agree with me, but I feel the ice storm in 82 was much worse. I would love to know what you think, which one's worse. And I'd love to hear your personal stories because I really enjoy that. I love to hear like where people were, how they went through these. So feel free to share. Appreciate your time. Hope you enjoy this video. Take care. Cheers.